From the Alvin and Rosalie Sarachek studio, PBS Kansas presents Empowering Seniors.
Welcome to Empowering Seniors. I'm your host, Katherine Ambrose. Today we're talking about addressing aging and addressing ageism. Meet my daughter, Jillian Ambrose, and my friend, Sam Cradduck from California. We're going to engage in a multi-generational conversation about aging, ageism, and we've got a few surprises for you today. Welcome, Jillian and Sam. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So, Jillian, you've helped with so many things in the studio. This is your first time to actually be on the show.
Yeah.
So, welcome to you.
Thank you. It's my debut.
There you go. And debut of granddaughter.
And your grandbaby.
I know. So that's very exciting. And Sam, thank you so much for traveling from California
Absolutely.
to be here with us. And we're so excited to have you. And I found you on the internet. Turns out I'm not the only one. Like, you're like globally famous.
Yeah, that happened.
It happened. And,
That happened.
And do you ever just kind of scratch your head and think, well, I'm just talking about incontinence?
Exactly. It's like, what? Yes, I do all the time. I'm scratching my head going, what's so special? But there's something that people have engaged with and like and are attracted to in there.
Well, thank you for helping deliver it to PBS Kansas viewers now.
Absolutely.
Because what you have to say really resonates with people. And it's kind of the stuff that nobody really wants to talk about.
Yep, that's true.
And so it's not maybe what we want to talk about, but it's what we need to talk about and talk about it with a little lightness. And because people are like, resonating with you, and they're like, oh my gosh, Sam, thank you. And so we're going to share some of that goodness today. So what did you bring? This is maybe our first show and tell.
So as you age, things change. And so we all know that just your skin changes, your muscle tones change, all of those things go on. And so skin integrity becomes a really big issue. Skin is the largest organ of the body. We don't think of it as an organ, but it actually is. You think about your lungs and your heart and your liver, but your skin is an organ. So as you're aging, your organs start to change a bit, and then your cells don't replicate. And so as you've aged and your skin starts to thin, be it either from collagen depletion, hormone depletion, sun exposures, medications, all kinds of things. Even a smoker will have thinner skin. Then we start to see skin tears. We start to see that a lot of our seniors, sometimes they'll do this and their skin can actually roll. We'll get skin tears where that first layer rolls off. It bleeds like crazy. It's just insane. So what I see a lot of times that happens in the homes is families will come in, or the loved one, or the client themselves, or the aged person themselves, or even hospitalist, and they'll put a Band-Aid on a wound. Well, what's a Band-Aid on a wound going to do? It's going to cover the wound for a minute, but then when you take that Band-Aid off. So how I teach people is I do this. So your skin's like tissue now. And so I've put a Band-Aid on the tissue. There you go, Katherine. And Jillian. And so I want you to take the Band-Aid off. So your wound's healed up. I just want you to take that Band-Aid off that skin there for a minute for me.
All right, so we're all healed up.
We're healed up.
We just got to get the Band-Aid off.
You just got,
Grandma, no.
Ouch.
Right. And so I have seen some of the worst skin tears come from people unknowingly.
Terrible.
Right.
This is awful.
Right. And so if you think about your
it's coming
skin
right
as
off.
you've aged as a tissue, and just how easy you can tear it and how easy it damages. And so how do we want to protect it? We want to use something like a Coban.
Oh my gosh.
So we've all gone and had blood draws, right? You're getting them, unfortunately, frequently.
Yep.
So you put the little 3x3, the 4x4, whatever size, put whatever ointment you need to, and then wrap it with a Coban instead of putting a Band-Aid on. And you can do that pretty much with any wound. There's tube bandages, there's all kinds of things that are out there, but please don't use sticky products.
Nothing sticky to
Nothing
rip.
sticky on an aged person's skin, because you're going to end up damaging the skin way worse than you ever had hoped for.
Okay,
So,
good tip.
There you go.
Good tip.
And so
We thought ripping off Band-Aids was bad when we were young.
Right?
right, and then you get the people that are like, well, you just rip it in one fail.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
So we're taught to just rip the Band-Aid off quick. Well,
Yeah.
and I have seen that happen. Unfortunately, I've seen nurses do it.
I
And-
gave up on mine. That Band-Aid just lives there
Yeah, it
now.
was hurting you.
It was. I was really. It hit me in my emotions.
Yeah, it was hurting you. So, so that's one of the things that I like to use as a visual aid to help people understand just the thin skin and the changes of the body.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what else do you have here for us?
So the other thing is, and this was like eye-opening for me, so I'm going to let you guys do this. Here.
Because you said you were using gloves for a long time.
Yeah, so I worked as a caregiver in private homes as a private caregiver, and I would change my clients. I would do things. I would, make sure the incontinence cleaning and all the changes were done. And so I would put a glove on, and I would get them changed, and then I would take my glove off, and I would sit there with this really sweaty palm trying to put a new glove on. And here, put that one on as well.
Okay.
On the
Same hand?
Same hand.
Okay.
And so I would do that, and then I would be like waving my hand around because it's going to start sweating, and then I would be able to do the clean work because I wanted to make sure I was gloved every time, right? And so I was sitting, and a hospice nurse came in, a hospice bathing aide came in. She put on 2 gloves. And she went over, and yeah, exactly. It was mind blowing. She changed the person, and she took off the glove, and then she had her clean gloves already on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so enlightening and so simple. So we leave our person laying there. Sometimes there's a lung issue and they can't lay flat. And so if you have that, you have your dirty glove, and then you already have your clean glove on. And you want to make sure you're wearing gloves even if it's somebody that you've been intimate with. And I'll show you this, Jillian. So say, what's this touch feel like to you?
Very kind of clinical.
Kind of clinical. So what's this touch feel like?
Pretty intimate.
Yeah. So there's a difference in the way that you should touch someone, even if it's your family member. So if it's somebody you've been intimate with, you want to keep that relationship whole. You don't want to clean their junk,
Right.
for a better way of saying it, ungloved, because you want that touch to be that intimate, nurturing touch. You want that to be the touch of the companion, the family member, the love. And you want this one to be, I've got a task to do. We're going to get this done, and we're going to give you the dignity of doing it this way.
Yeah.
So does that make sense?
That makes total
Absolutely.
sense.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So then we've determined that skin has changed and skin has started to break down. And so now we've got a little bit thinner skin. So when you're dealing with incontinence, which is very common, and it's my favorite topic in the whole wide world to talk about because it comes with so much shame. Why does incontinence come with shame?
Kind of feels like you're losing some independence. Can be a little embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. It's when we were potty training our children, when we were being potty trained ourselves, we were told, big girls don't potty in their pants.
Right.
Big girls don't go in their pants. Big boys don't pee their pants. And so when you're 30, 40, 50, and I use those ages because that's actually when we start seeing some of this. Nobody wants to talk about it or admit it, especially in females. You've given birth, you've had children, it starts to change your bladder and all of those things. So you start to have a little bit of incontinence, a little bit of leaking going on, and it's embarrassing. So you don't say anything, you hide it. Well, if you're hiding it, you're causing problems.
Right.
If you're not talking about it, you're allowing it to be a problem. And so now you're maybe wearing a pad to protect yourself or nothing at all. You're not changing it as frequently as you need. You're causing infections, UTIs, skin breakdown, odors. Our aging population loses their sense of smell. It's one of the first senses to go, so it changes. So they may not smell that they actually smell like urine, and it's unfortunate. So when you're doing incontinent care, the skin on your bottom and in your peri area, it can become very irritated. Okay, you're going to see this with your baby, and I'm very careful not to use I don't want to emphasize an adult ever.
Right.
I don't. And I hear that too frequently. I hear that, well, they're going through their second childhood. No, they're not. They're an adult that needs assistance. And if we always think about it that way, then we're always going to give the dignity and respect that they deserve.
Because saying something like the reverting to childhood, that's very disrespectful.
Oh, it's so disrespectful. I absolutely refuse to say that we're changing diapers. We're not. We're changing briefs, we're changing underwear, we're changing
Right.
Depends. But if you want to change a diaper, then go work at a daycare. If you want to change a diaper, go see a child. This is an adult, and they deserve the respect of being the adults that they are.
Okay,
These
so
are the
diapers for children.
diapers for children,
Briefs.
briefs, underwear, panties, whatever you want to call it, that gives respect. We don't want to make somebody feel like they've lost more than Father Time's already taken.
Right.
Another thing you hear is, well, now I guess we're just parenting our parents.
Oh, and that one's another irritant for me. I don't need a parent. I had parents. I don't need another mom. I don't need my daughter to mother me. My daughter is my daughter. My children are my children. I've lost my parents. You're not going to replace them. So we don't need you to come in and parent us. We don't need you to treat us like we're your children or treat us like we are children. If you treat your adults with the respect that they deserve all the time, 100% of the time, maybe I need some assistance.
Or we're partnering with our parents, or we guiding loved ones, but we're not parenting them.
That's right. That's right. We're assisting an adult. And so when I'm feeding a child, I'm feeding them with the intent of teaching them to do it on their own. These are people that know how to do it on their own. They're just not able to any longer. So when you go in with that teaching mindset, or trying to show them, or thinking that maybe, especially with dementia, if you just remind them over and over, you're going to get them to do it again, and you're going to
Right.
get them to remember.
It's not gonna
You're
work that way.
not going to. All you're doing is taking away from them at this point. Our jobs are to add to their lives. Our jobs are to enhance them and help them, not to take away from them.
Even just as I've been a caregiver for my grandfather before, and that gives me a kind of sense of relief to think of it that way. Is I'm not, trying to help him in this second childhood. I'm just helping my grandpa.
That's right.
And I like this. I like the glove rather than the hands, because it gives a little bit of separation, and it's not like his granddaughter is the one like babying him.
Right.
It's just a loved one that's taking on a very professional role to help him where he needs.
That's right.
That kind of takes some stress off of the caregiver, I would think.
Takes
to
stress
think of
off
it
the
that way.
caregiver, and it takes stress off of the person
Right.
receiving the care, because now you've got your roles defined. And then when I take that glove off, then when I can still restore this relationship, I can still have this
Right.
relationship. And it's important to do that. You have to maintain the relationship. Most of our care is done through family caregivers.
Yeah, because she has a little bit of trauma from some of that,
Yeah.
because you didn't have that training, and
No,
it
I
felt
had
so
no
awkward.
training. I was just trying to be a good kid, I was just trying to help out, and I didn't know to use gloves, and I didn't know, to help give a little bit of dignity, and I just kind of thought this is what needs to happen. But I could feel that he was a little embarrassed that I was the one helping him.
Sure. It is. And so I use, I use the thought of, we've been married or we're married, and so most of us can urinate in front of someone else. You can pop a squat right here,
Sure.
and you can go, right?
Yeah.
But when you go to have a BM, when you go to poop, you want some privacy. It's like,
Yeah.
shut the door, close the door,
Right.
my crap doesn't stink, and we have that mindset, right? And so, but a caregiver and a family caregiver, they'll take somebody in, maybe in a wheelchair, transfer them to a toilet or a walker, help them, assist them, and then stand there and try and have a conversation like a gynecologist during the exam, and you're like, and everything just tightens up.
Yeah.
So then we see so much constipation. And it's like, well, are you giving them the time and the privacy and the dignity and the respect? And so when I teach on this, I actually tell people there's towels in bathrooms. Get them set down, put a towel over their lap. You're shielding and giving privacy. You're giving them warmth. And then you can walk out of the room.
Yeah.
Unless you're worried about somebody that's going to pass out from an oxygen issue or something, walk out of the room, watch through a mirror, do all kinds of things to preserve that respect and that dignity. Let that person have their privacy. We don't want somebody standing there, but we'll stand there and tap our little foot, and business isn't going to happen for a lot of people.
The same thing would be with the shower. You know, sometimes people say, oh, you know, she's so stubborn she won't take a shower. And so what can that be about?
So showering, that's another one where, did you wake up this morning and say, I can't wait to get naked in front of a stranger?
No.
Didn't
No,
happen.
and I think about that a lot right now.
Yeah.
I'm really not looking forward to that part of it.
It's most of us are not wanting to just undress in front of anybody. I mean, there may be a few people, and that's okay. It's cool if that's them. But it's not the first thing you think about, or it's, I can't wait to get naked in front of my adult children.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you've had breast cancer, maybe you've had a mastectomy, maybe you've had surgeries, maybe, you know, all of your junk isn't where it used to be. Maybe you don't want people to just see that. And so there's some embarrassment, and there's a lot that goes on. And so that's one of the main reasons that we're not wanting to just jump in the shower. The other one is it's loud in there. And we don't think about how neurodiverse our aged population can be, because we just started diagnosing these neurodiversities in our youth and in our younger adults. And so autism's not new. It existed, ADD existed, ADHDs, those kind of things existed. They just weren't diagnosed. So this group grew up being told to pull up your bootstraps and deal with it. And now those sounds and that loudness and how cold it is, that can all be very affecting. And so what do? You make it more comfortable. You provide towels, you provide robes, you provide dignity and respect. I had a lady that called me, and she had the same issue. She was the caregiver for her dad. And we're talking, and she's telling me how much he loved to fish and how much he loved the water and everything. And I said, tell your dad to put his swim trunks on. And she's like, what? And I said, have him put his swim trunks on. You need to be there for a standby. He can wash his junk. He can throw the sprayer down in and rinse everything off. Let him have his trunks on while he's in the shower. And she called me back, and she's like, oh my gosh, my dad is showering almost every day.
That's awesome.
You know? We're giving him the respect and the privacy. So when we can do that with our ladies as well. We just have to be creative and willing to. We have to put ourselves in those shoes. And we fail to do that too often.
Well, and you talked about, you know, make it a more pleasurable experience and warmth, and so I'm thinking about towels that you could even do a towel warmer.
A towel warmer, if the dryer's close by, throw those towels in the dryer, let them warm up while the person's in the shower. If not, then there's portable plug-in towel warmers or towel bars that'll warm. I mean, having yourself just wrapped up and snuggled up in a nice warm towel. We have to remember that our body doesn't retain heat as well once we've aged as it did. That's why their homes are a little bit too heated for me. So you go in and you just try and create an environment that's going to be a little more user friendly and a little kinder for them.
Make it more of a, you know, more of a treat too.
Call it a spa day.
Spa day. Love it.
Call it a spa day. Come on, Mom, it's time to spa. And that's the other thing is if I come in and I say, hey, do you want to take a shower today? Nope. Nope. I don't want to get naked in front of you today. But hey, Mom, it's time to take a shower. Now I'm coaching you through it without giving you so much of an option. And if it's, you know what, no, honey, I just don't feel good today, respect that. Now, you can't respect that 30 days in a row, or you're not going to be able to walk in. But, you know, you can give a little to get a lot more.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so now you're gonna.
So we were talking about skin integrity. We were talking about how the skin thins out. So with incontinence be it to urine, that's going to degrade the skin even more in an already sensitive area. And so lots of times we use zinc. So I'm going to have you do this, Katherine.
Okay.
So there, we're going to lay that out. And on your gloved hand, I'm going to put the zinc. And you're going to rub it against that tissue like that. You're just putting that, smoothing it on the bottom, and you see how it kind of pulls because zinc itself is thick.
Ooh.
And so it can damage the skin, but it's great at protecting the skin. And so what I like to do is I like to take the zinc ointment and a little bit of like a petroleum base, an A&D or something like that.
Okay.
And then we mix them together. And you can do it on your gloved hand, but we're going to do it this way. Because you can do it with a glove and then kind of squeeze it together. And now, see how well that slides. You're going to get the same level of protection.
Oh, way better.
But you're not going to pull the skin while you're doing it.
Oh,
and then the
glides.
cleanup of it afterwards. So a lot of times, now watch, if you pull that off, now you've still got another hand to put those tabs back on and finish up the work with a clean glove on, and you have some on this hand, so
Don't get it on me.
No, this hand. So
Okay, but I will tell you that even though it looked like it was smooth at first, then it really pulled. And so I could definitely tell that I would maybe be tearing skin.
Yeah.
And then this just glides like butter.
It does. It glides right like butter, but it gives that same level of protection. And then it also cleans so super easy to come off because that's the other thing we like to do is we want to get in there and we want to clean all that up off that skin. Well, when you're doing it, you're actually breaking the skin down a little bit more.
All right, remind us again what that recipe is.
So it's a zinc product. So it can be the camelseptine, which is typically what we get, or a Desitin, any of those products that are zinc based. And then a petroleum jelly, which would be your A&Ds or just a straight tube of petroleum jelly. Mix those together. There's no true like one part. It's just mix it together till it's smooth. You're giving that more of an easier, smooth.
Perfect.
That's a great tip.
That is a great tip. And so you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
And so looking for tips, being resourceful, like watching this show, you can pick up good things. But the thing is that aging can be really hard, feeling like you're losing your independence, the ability to do things. Jillian was talking about how she feels being pregnant, and you were like fitness queen, jumping on tall boxes. How does it feel to suddenly not be able to do some of the things you felt really comfortable doing?
Right. Well, I mean, it's shocking, and I'll be honest. It kind of feels it's a little better now, but it kind of felt like I was losing a little bit of my identity because I was constantly wanting to do CrossFit, go hiking, stuff like that, and I obviously can't do all of that anymore.
You're growing a human.
Yep. So it was a very sudden change for me, and it's given me a lot of, I think, empathy and insight into what we go through as we age. You were even talking about making showers more comfortable. The bottoms of my feet are so sore these days that sometimes showers can be really uncomfortable.
Right.
So it's really given me a lot of
Probably empathy and understanding. And so sometimes we don't know what other people are going through. And if you're having a pregnancy or temporary something, you're going to get better. Whereas there can be a lot of sadness, a lot of grief over the stage of life that you're in and things that are going on. So we just want to love on people and empower people the best we can. Thank you both. Thank you both for doing this episode and sharing all these great thoughts.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Really appreciate having you on. And thank you for watching. If you have questions about any of the topics that we cover or suggestions maybe for a future show, reach out to us at 316-686-4500 or email empoweringseniors@kpts.org. I'm Katherine Ambrose, and I'll see you on the next Empowering Seniors.